Hey there, everybody. I haven't been on here for a while, and I also want to mention right away, for those of you that don't know who the heck I am, I'm Crystal O'Connor, and for years I've been with the Moxie Entrepreneur, helping people with their marketing and list building online and selling more. And I have kind of stopped doing that. I do have a private client in that arena, but what I have been doing more of is helping people. I have a passion for not just health and fitness, but weight loss specifically. And I did come from that industry, so I have been helping private clients recently with carb cycling and putting menu plans together and helping them for those that have insulin resistance. Which, by the way, we all have insulin resistance. If we have a diet from the United States or Australia, then you most likely have insulin resistance because of processed foods. And so what I wanted to do here today was give you some tips, and then talk about my program that I have both male and females in. It's an 8-week program. It's called Skinny, Fast, and Fit. You can go to skinnyfastandfit.com. And we're just I think about 5 or 6 weeks away from summer actually beginning. So because the weekend was Mother's Day, or yesterday was Mother's Day, and I didn't get a chance to jump on here, I wanted to share with you an offer of joining in Skinny Fast and Fit, the Skinny Fast Fit program, which is a group online and then a menu plan that I help you with, and then I go in and do live streams. So I'm going to give you an offer here in a second, but first I'm going to give you tips. Okay, if you would like to lose 10 to 20 pounds before summer, it would be hard to lose 20 pounds in 5 weeks, but it has been done. It has been done. I'm going to give you some tips right now to get you started on that. A lot of times it's support, but if you are suffering from insulin resistance, it is tricky. It does get tricky. You know, our hormones do play a huge role in how we feel and keeping our inner. So we're wanting to feel well as we lose weight, right? And so if you, hello, whoever did that, hi Stephanie. If you are trying to lose weight and you're not feeling great and you're reaching for anything and everything to keep your energy up and to keep your spirits up, it makes it really hard, doesn't it? So I help not only with to reduce emotional eating, but I'm going to give you some tips right now that will help you stay satiated and not hungry. And so let me explain how to reduce insulin. Okay, so insulin is a hormone. Just a little refresher for those of you that don't know that. Insulin is a hormone that can actually work against you during weight loss. So we've got to reduce insulin. So I want you to think of insulin as your enemy during weight loss. Okay, so you've got to keep insulin down in order to lose weight. Did you know, for instance, when your insulin has risen just a little bit, you will very likely be unable to lose weight for up to 48 hours. Okay, so in the Skinny Fast and Fit program, we've got goals to meet. So in that 8 weeks, we want to lose 10 to 20 pounds. Okay, that's a lot of people's goal anyway. But what I want them to walk away with, not just to lose the weight, but what I want them to walk away with is a plan for life, and to start to understand what it is that puts weight on you and why you crave certain foods. Okay, it's not just emotional. I hear a lot about the emotional eating, but I'm here to tell you that a lot of it is chemical. So if you are depriving yourself of the foods that you want and you just like white knuckling it, you're most likely going to fail, because a lot of it is chemical. So let me get to these tips here. If we can reduce insulin and get your insulin down, you won't be as hungry and you won't have as many cravings. I promise you. Okay, I promise you. But you've got to get in the right macros. You've got to get in the right nutrients. And then to keep weight loss moving, we've got to cycle your carbs. Okay. Yes, you can just take carbs away immediately, or indefinitely. And I know keto is very, hi there, Dan. I know keto is very popular. I'm not a fan of it myself. It dries my eyes out. It gives me all kinds of other things that I don't like. Here's the thing though, symptoms I don't like. Here's the thing, you're going to have to live that way. And if you can't live eating keto, then I'm going to teach you a different way. And the body does need carbs. That's all there is to it. You just need carbs. But if you can cycle your carbs and you know how many carbs to get, how many macros to get in a day's time to keep your body losing, and then I give a lot of other tips too, then you will lose consistently and not be hungry. So one of the tips is to reduce insulin. And how do you do that? Well, you can do that by not eating out as much. Okay, so restaurants have MSG in their food. MSG will actually raise your insulin levels more than sugar. Okay, so if MSG is hidden in your food and you don't realize it, it's working against you, and here you are thinking, why aren't I losing weight? What's wrong with me? And then that feeling in itself wants you to give up and start reaching for carbs or sugar, or right? So you've got to stop eating out so much if you don't know what's in the food. So MSG is, by the way, it's used in a lot of processed foods and for taste, and it really does cause you to want more and more and more of it. So there's an addictive component to MSG, as well as it tastes really good, right? So the absence of insulin will help you lose weight and keep it going, or keep it moving. I want you to consider avoiding protein with sugar, okay? So again, that's what restaurants do. They add, you've got protein and MSG and sugar together. So if you can separate those as much as possible, it's going to help you. So there are a certain amount of protein that you need in a day, a certain amount of carbs, right, and a certain amount of fat. Those are your 3 macros that you're going to be watching on my program. And once you get the hang of it and know exactly how many macros to get in, you're going to start feeling a lot better. So if one were to just reduce your calories and lose weight, most likely the person that did that went hungry. They also didn't get the right nutrients. And when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, when you're aging, especially as a woman, and you're depriving yourself, that's only going to last for so long. You're going to cave. You're just going to cave. You also are going to you're going to upset your hormones, and you're going to most likely reach for sugar and fat, but you're going to have some other symptoms that we don't like as women. Okay, like your hair falling out, right? Like your thyroid being compromised. So you've got to get those macros in, and it's really not that hard. I also teach intermittent fasting. You don't have to do that in the program, but intermittent fasting is fabulous on so many levels, so many ways. But I'll just tell you right now, ladies, listen up. If you lose weight and use intermittent fasting while you lose weight as one of the tips, you will raise your levels of your skin will shrink. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to get into this being a tutorial about HCG, but if you can if you can use intermittent fasting to increase, here I go again. Okay, I don't want to give too much away here because I feel like that it just confuses people. But your skin will shrink using intermittent fasting, okay? And you know what? I'm going to save that. I'm going to actually do a video, a little bit more, I'm going to give more information and do a video on that tomorrow. But your skin will shrink, okay? And if you lose weight with just calories and you don't get the right nutrients in, then you're compromising a lot of things, but your skin won't shrink the same, and you'll actually have more wrinkles when you lose weight. Okay, so if you're wanting to lose a significant amount of weight, like 20, 30 pounds, and you're older, and you do it too fast, or you do it without the intermittent fasting, you actually will raise the risk of looking older after you lose the weight. Okay, so I'm going to give tips about that. In fact, I'll probably do that tomorrow. I'll do an intermittent fasting video where I'll explain exactly what intermittent fasting is, how it works, and how it helps the skin, okay? So tips on weight loss for now. So I told you about the intermittent fasting, of course, but the reducing insulin, keeping the insulin down, getting your macros in, avoiding MSG, and here's the thing about stress. Stress is another tip. If you can reduce stress, well, how do you do that, right? Well, here's what I decided to do, because I've got 3 teenagers, I was running a business, I had a lot of stress in my life. My kids were coming and going, and I was trying to hold them accountable because they were all in high school at the same time last year, for instance, or the year before last, and graduating almost all at the same time, and so it was just a lot. And I noticed I had this weight gain that I'd never really had before, and I'm telling you, it was cortisol, and I don't want to believe it, but it really, really was. So High levels of cortisol due to stress does not help weight loss. So I help people in my program reduce their stress, and there are little tricks too. If you have what we all know as belly fat, if you feel bloated and you have belly fat, and you're in your 40s, for instance, you've got to reduce your stress to help weight loss, okay? So if you can do things to give yourself more self-care, okay? If you can do things to avoid stress, sometimes that's a person in your life. Sometimes it's certain personalities in your life, okay? But you've got to start maybe even setting some boundaries and giving yourself some me time. And I'm here to tell you, if you are working out and thinking that working out is going to help you lose weight, so if you have a high stress life and you're trying to lose weight, most likely you have cortisol working against you. And if you're going to the gym and you're trying to do spinning and body pump and running, you're actually creating more stress, and you could actually be gaining weight. I know that because I've done it and I've read about it, and I'm way into research, okay? So I understand now how cortisone can work against you if you're trying to get it off at the gym. And what that will do when you raise your cortisol, and is not only will you not lose weight, you'll actually gain weight, okay? And you'll want to eat more. So working out is helpful, but what is the right amount? And that's one thing that I teach as well in my program. What is the right amount? So I'm going to give you a tip right now about how to reduce stress with exercise, and that is just walking. If you can just walk, okay? So again, let me just go over this again. If you're trying to lose weight, you have a high stress life. If you recognize that you have a lot of stress in your life, you're trying to lose weight, you have belly fat, what they call belly fat, then most likely cortisol is the problem. Do not try to overdo it at the gym, but try to walk, okay? So if you could walk, and no, I don't mean run, but just walk 3 to 5 miles a day for say 5 to 6 days a week, and 5 miles might be too much at first, then try 2 miles a day. I want you just walking, and track that, and that will help reduce stress. But you don't want to go and run if you already have a stressful life and you're trying to lose weight, because it's going to backfire on you, especially if you're in your 40s or older, okay? So that's just one of the ways that you can reduce stress, is get exercise but not overdo it, and start looking into, ask yourself, especially if you're a mother, and by the way, this is a Mother's Day special that I'm going to offer here, but with the joining my program for $97. That is a special for the next 48 hours. If you are interested in joining my program, you will have a program, not just learn it for the next 8 weeks, but you will actually be able to walk away after the 8 weeks and know how to incorporate it into your life. You'll have a menu plan, you'll know how many macros that you're supposed to have, you'll know how to carb cycle, what that means, how many your body needs in a day to keep the weight coming off, okay? So message me if you're interested in that, or you can just go to skinnyfastandfit.com. The button for the 97 special is not on there, so you'll have to message me here on Facebook. I'm just doing this this Facebook Live for my friends here on Facebook. Okay, so you've got to reduce your stress. I also give tips in my program, more tips about how to reduce stress, and some of them might surprise you, because we've all heard, oh, we have to reduce stress. Well, that makes it almost more confusing when you're one that, like myself, last year, I still have 3 teenagers, but last year was just a lot because I was running my business the way I was 24/7 and had 3 teenagers. And they're all still teenagers, but now I've got 2 that are out of high school, and that has helped tremendously with the stress. But me working out at the gym like I was, wondering why it wasn't working, and I learned why. It was raising my cortisol and backfiring, okay? So I hope these tips have helped you. Let me go over them right now again. So reduce stress to reduce the cortisol, especially if you have belly fat. If you are in your 40s, okay, or higher, then your body really needs you to do something different. So carb cycling is going to help too. Reduce your insulin, and doing that is going to make weight loss so much easier. But knowing what macros to get in will also help. But reducing your insulin, because it's hard to lose weight. You raise your insulin and you got 48 hours after you just raise your insulin, 48 hours of not losing weight, okay? If you don't know that while you're trying to lose weight, you're gonna feel stressed out. That raises your cortisol, right? Okay, so you've got to reduce insulin. There are tricks to that. And so think about insulin being the fat storing hormone. Okay, MSG is a fat storing, insulin raising product. It's a horrible product, horrible. That means you've got to get the processed food out of your diet. You've got to. Avoid mixing proteins and sugars. Excessive amounts of protein, like I see some people doing on the keto, isn't helpful either. It's just not. So there's got to be a right amount of fats, carbs, and protein. And by the way, vegetables do have, I mean, all foods have a little bit of, not all foods, but it's amazing how people think that protein can only come from animal protein. And so to answer any question, I have had some questions about being a vegetarian. Yes, you can be a vegetarian and be on the program. Yes, absolutely. And for those that eat a lot of animal proteins, you've got to understand that there's a limit to that, because protein can raise your insulin. I think there's some confusion about that. Protein, yes, can raise your insulin levels. So you've got to take that into consideration. Okay, I hope that helps. So you've got to cut your cravings, get in the right macros, and keep your insulin down. And then, of course, you've probably all heard this, right? The old standby, how much water do I have? Consider having 2 liters a day. 3, like work up to 3 liters a day, and your weight loss will be easier, I promise, okay? And make sure that it's clean water, filtered water, okay? Let me see, did I forget anything? I don't think so. So message me if you're interested. The offer that I'm making today is you can join my 8-week program for $97. You will have the program, you will have the menu, you have the menus, you will have the plan, the carb cycling plan. So if you want to lose more than 20 pounds, you will have the plan to continue, or you could always stay with us, okay, after the 8 weeks. But we are about 5 weeks away from summer actually officially starting. So consider messaging me. I would love to have you in the program and teach you more. Bye everybody, thanks for joining.